here we are.
Hey, welcome
Super
back,
Bowl.
NBA game. How's it going? Pre-Super Bowl.
And
Where we gonna be live at Waldo tomorrow?
nope, Lions. Cheers, the Chiefs and the 49ers. We're going to give you our review of what we think, predictions of the winner and who's going to have the most stats if you're playing some fantasy. As you can see, we're Lions and Michigan fans, so we're out of this competition, but definitely can tell you what we think is going to win the Super Bowl. And we're going to also talk a little bit about some NFL news that's been happening. So let's get started.
Right. Yeah, let's get started.
First thing, let's get this off our chest. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I am rooting for San Francisco.
San Francisco.
But it's gonna be a tight game.
Well, I think the Chiefs are finally coming on. Right now, this is their time. I mean, I was kind of jokingly, I was at a meeting yesterday, and somebody asked me who I thought was going to win, and I said, well, of course Taylor Swift's going to win. It's a love story.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you just come out with that? So, anyways,
yeah.
Do I think the Chiefs?
Yeah, after the win, Kelsey's gonna get on one knee and propose to her.
No. He was talking on the radio about, this is, that he doesn't let any of that stuff bother him at all. But I think Mahomes is what the key factor is on, the Chiefs winning this. It's going to be I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But my prediction on the score-wise, I think the Chiefs win this 35-24.
Yeah, I think San Francisco's going to win it 28-20.
28-20.
I think McCaffrey's going to have a huge game.
Well, I heard Kadarius Toney is healthy enough to play, so that would be another big factor with Mahomes' passing game.
Yeah.
And with the 49ers' terrible run defense, I think Pacheco will have a huge game himself. And then, of course, Kelsey. Look at how Laporta did against the 49ers. I think Kelsey will have it. That's why I just think the Chiefs are going to have their way with the 49ers defense.
Yeah, I guess my thought about it is just what Chiefs team shows up. The Chiefs that were mid-season looking like, what the heck happened to them? They lose. I don't know. I still think San Francisco's got this. I think it's I don't think they stop McCaffrey. I think he has a game. So we'll see.
McCaffrey's always going to win this game. I just think he just went to the wrong team. He's going to be shy of getting a Super Bowl ring. But
we'll see.
Don't get me wrong. I would like the 49ers to win this game just because, the Lions couldn't hold it off, and we should have won that game anyways. But you know what? It takes 4 quarters to win a game.
Yeah, the Lions definitely did play 4 quarters last week or 2 weeks ago. They played a half. That was it.
Definitely excited about next year for the Lions, and
yeah.
Not to skip gears, but we probably will a little bit. I think we've got our predictions out there with the Chiefs 49ers. So stats-wise, for those that are wondering, well, how big of a game do you think they're going to have? I haven't looked at any of the DraftKings or any of those type of things to kind of get what, over-under stuff. But I think, Mahomes is going to have a lot of yards. I think his feet is what's going to help big time, but I bet you'll have, 300 yards with 20 yards rushing, and he's going to have 2 touchdowns. I just think it's going to be a lot of passing, and I think the rushing they're going to have, this is just on the Kansas City side, so that's all we're focusing on, the Kansas City side here. But I think the running game, I think they'll have 2 touchdowns on the ground too as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think my my fantasy, I think, because we got that elimination fantasy, I think my top three I'm taking Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, McCaffrey as a running back, and probably Kelsey as a tight end. So we'll have to see. And then I don't know. I have to see who I got left in our.
Oh yeah, I
our,
missed. Whoa! Be right back. Jeez. Sorry about that. I have some crazy animals. They're a nice thing, cats. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Jeez.
I just kind of laughed. That's why I kicked mine out of the room right there.
What's
That's the exact reason.
What was it?
I said that's the exact reason why I kicked mine out of the room right there.
I can't have nice things with these cats.
But yeah, I mean, going just by my fantasy, well, you know, our elimination fantasy, those are at least the three main guys I'm gonna pick up. And I think that, I mean, if you're playing a fantasy Super Bowl, I think those are gonna top the top 3 point getters right there.
Yeah, I was just calculating what I had. It's Mahomes with 3 touchdowns because, you know, I'm figuring them for 35 points. So, and 2 on the ground. 49ers, you know, obviously McCaffrey is going to have his game, but you know, I think total. It's hard to even predict ground versus passing and catching, all that stuff with him. I think he's going to be more elusive on the catching the ball. So I think his rushing is going to be, you know, 60 yards, but I think he's going to have more yards catching. I bet he'll have over 140 yards total.
You know, with McCaffrey and Debo, that kind of reminds me of, like, you know, Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown for us, you know, where you got that little punch. San Francisco obviously don't have a speedster deep threat person, but I mean, if McCaffrey can get going on the ground, then that's going to open up a lot of screen passes and just over the linebacker passing.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah. So on the 49er side of it, you know, I think Purdy, if he keeps up with what he's doing, you know, and he plays, I thought he played really well in the second half against the Lions, and you know, used his feet where he hadn't shown it a lot during the season, but he definitely came up big for them. I still think Debo is going to have a big game. You know, he's a quick, fast. You know, he is a good receiver. You said a deep threat. He's not quite a huge deep threat, but he's very fast when he gets the ball. So,
Yeah. Well, I just going back to when the Lions played the Chiefs. You know, first game of the year there, and I get it. I think they had one of their tackles without, right? Defensive tackle without, but the Lions gained good on the ground. You know, and it opened up the play action and stuff for Montgomery and stuff in that game. So that defense is liable, giving up big yardage that way, because we actually seen it when Detroit played them at the beginning of the year.
So if you're listening and want to chime in prior to our Super Bowl stream, you know, put on there what your thoughts are. You know, I'd love to hear them. So we can just kind of chat on them as we're going through the game. I mean, our heart's always into watching a good Super Bowl game. I hope this is not a blowout by all means. And, you know, and then that way we can cover, you know, agree, disagree. But either way, we're going to tailgate somewhere. We always will. And, you know, I like one comment we got was, you know, you're out in Hicksville.
Oh, yeah. I see that. Hey.
I was thinking the other day.
Bonfires and Hicks have the best tailgating parties. I don't care what you say.
I was thinking the other day.
We can light big fires legally.
I was thinking the other day tailgating like a cornhole backyard competition. I'm like, how funny would that be?
That'd be funny.
You know what? See if they can play under pressure.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. I'm looking forward to a good game. That, like you said, brother. I hope it's not one-sided. I hope it's a good game and it comes right down to the end of the game. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And some other enlightening news. I think the injury battles that are looking at the Super Bowl. I heard Kittle was on there, but they said hell and high water, and if he would miss the game. So I think it was I think it was a day off for a few players. So if you're watching any of that, it really doesn't seem like any big significant. I think one of the guys in the offensive line for the Chiefs is out, but I'm trying to find the full news on all this.
So, what do you think about San Francisco getting put out some practice turf that wasn't quite up to snuff? I heard there was a lot of complaining about that.
Well, it's indoor too, so I don't know where they're having their practices are at.
I heard it was UNLV at College Stadium. They had to put turf over it. A lot of the players complained of like walking on a sponge, trying to run on a sponge or something.
Oh. So, anything else on the whole Super Bowl?
Like I said, that's who I'm picking for my fantasy, and I hope San Francisco wins. I think they're gonna win. You're opposite to me, but I just like I said, good game.
Yeah.
It'll be a good game this.
As far as us being the fans that we are for the teams that we root for, we are obviously aiming for the future, but we also are trying to, as tailgaters, trying to come up with some fun stuff throughout the off season to make some live streaming some fun. So if you have any ideas or some events and you are within arms or within a 100-mile radius of where we're at, obviously we're in Michigan, so shout us. 100 miles. So shout us your thoughts, what you got events. If you've got anything great, we love doing some. We've done already a charity event, which was great, and
for you were freezing at the end of that.
We're not here to complain about what I didn't experience and what you did, but anyways, let's throw some ideas out there. If you've got any, and if you got a backyard party and saying, hey, we're doing this tournament, and would you guys come out and do it? Let us know. It doesn't have to be just a football game or a basketball game or anything else like that. So
yeah, and I know I'll be more on my side of it, but I plan on visiting some local dirt tracks and putting GoPros inside actual cars, and so you can have first point of view drivers on tracks while they're racing and stuff, and be tailgating in the pits for those things. So that's hopefully to come. I got a lot of family that drive race cars on the dirt track, so we'll be able to go from probably IMCAs to late models to hobby stocks and whatnot, and get a first point of view of drivers going around the track. So I think that'd be pretty cool and interesting.
I was thinking a lot like tailgating a pontoon boat contest, but we're trying to still come up with the details on how that all works.
Well, we both live on lakes, so.
Well, I had a couple of guys who were like, hey, you should try this. Anyways, let's jump into some other NFL news. The big one I've been hearing right now is the rumor on the number one pick for the Chicago Bears and what their expectations are. Do they trade that pick and stay with Fields? It sounds like they're still happy with Fields and what he's done, but Caleb Williams is expected to be the next Patrick Mahomes of the quarterbacks. Of course, every year we have a quarterback debate on how this number one pick coming in is supposed to be. And, what's your thoughts on, should the Bears keep it or should they get more picks? And
I see them trading out of that pick. I think they're going to stay with Field. But, man, if you trade out of that pick and pick up, I don't know, maybe a deep first round this year, because they got 2 first-round picks, right? So they got 10. So if they trade back, they still got 10, or somewhere in that area, the Carolina pick. And you get a 2 first-round next year. I mean, look how Detroit did it. I mean, in 3 years, they had 2 first-round picks. Granted, they hit on almost every one of their picks. So, that's what I see. If you're not really looking for a quarterback, trade back and you get 2 first-round picks this year still and 2 first-round picks next year.
Yeah, they got a big article on NFL.com on this. So I was just glad through that. It's talking about how that number one pick always seems to be, it's a hit or miss on how that player ends up performing. But quite honestly, I think with Justin Fields that they have, he got injured, but it sounds like he's not a issue at all in the locker room and no reason to move on from him. I mean, he's a running quarterback. Maybe it doesn't fit their scheme. That's the only thing I've been hearing is, do they want to change up their scheme? They're also rumoring that the Patriots might be interested in trying to snag Fields as well. And get rid of I don't know if they'd move out Mac Jones and Mac Jones would go somewhere else where he can actually play the way he should be playing. But obviously, if you look at the whole Patriots team, that's changed a lot. They're losing.
Well, they got a new coach coming in next year. Did Patriots hire their coach yet?
I think they did. I just didn't catch word on. Obviously that's not one of my number one teams to follow right now. But I was probably paying more attention to where Harbaugh was going to go and leaving Michigan. Yeah. So I'm excited about what the Chargers are going to be like.
Yeah, well, I heard rumors too that I was reading somewhere that the Lions might be interested in trading up with the Chargers to maybe nab a good corner, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I heard, might be on the radar.
We haven't done one of these, and I know we were talking about doing one, was a mock draft, but if the ones I've been looking at have been consistent enough, Kool-Aid, he's looking like he's going out later anyway, so I think the Lions will, if they're going to aim for him, they should be able to get him.
Yeah, I was hearing something during the college, the Senior Bowl there, that there was a corner on Toledo that was turning everybody's heads. But they said he might go high. So you try to be looking at that. That was one of the options I heard, and then I also heard that Detroit might trade their pick to the 29 to the Chargers for Joey Bosa. I don't remember. I was reading that I heard there was interest in that, or there was at least some talk about that. Can you imagine Joey Bosa opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? But I know we do need at least another edge rusher, or we got to get a defensive tackle. I think this year for Detroit, the whole draft's going to be mostly defense. I mean, they might pick up an offensive lineman because a couple of the guys. You said that Bragdon was coming back, right?
Yep, I just heard that as well. It sounds like a lot of the players are staying. Yeah,
well, I know Graham Glasgow. He was. They got to re-sign him. He is asking for more money, so we'll have to see what Brad Holmes does with that.
So the Patriots head coach is Jared Mayo. Sorry to interrupt, but Jared Mayo is the head coach for the Patriots.
somebody we even know about?
I could read this whole thing on it, but it's sounds like they're pretty excited of having him here.
What I was excited about was Ben Johnson pulling his name out, staying in Detroit as the offensive coordinator. That's huge for Detroit.
So the Patriots are linked to trying to trade and grab that Bears pick.
Yeah, all right.
Because if the Bears aren't going to get rid of Fields, and the Patriots are one of the teams that want a new quarterback in there, new head coach, everything else.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yep.
Let me jump into some Lions news since that's more what we want to talk about.
Yeah, like I said, I was just happy to hear Ben Johnson was coming back. I know it kind of ticked off the Washington Redskins. They're in route to come interview and said, I'm staying. Unfinished business. We want to get to a Super Bowl next year. But I think with Ben Johnson staying, I think this year they'll sign Goff to an extension. I think before the season starts, Goff will get signed to an extension.
Yeah, they said they would work on it. Yeah, there isn't much of these Lions players that, if they are free agents, it looks like they're trying to stay.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people going to come to Detroit, which is a good thing. But man, it's going to be tough next year. Like, you see our schedule for next year? We got San Francisco, Dallas. I mean, there was just our whole division. I think is going to be tough. I think with Jordan Love coming on, Green Bay's no pushover. The Bears and everyone. Both times we played the Bears, they showed up. I mean, we had to come back to beat them the first time around. So, in Minnesota, we had to beat them twice toward the end of the year to win the division there. So, I think Detroit, they got a tough road next year. I'm looking at that schedule, I'm like, oh, Moses. So this is my question. If San Francisco wins the Super Bowl, do you think Detroit will be playing them in the opening game again this year? Because they are playing they're playing in Detroit, aren't they? So maybe that won't happen.
I don't know where the way home and all that stuff is. Not looking at the schedule. You're ahead of me on the next year's schedules. I'm looking at player news and movements and trades and the prepping and what does the other teams look like for the following year.
Yeah, I know. I had an idea about the three players I thought the Lions, and maybe not a must, but I would really like to see them resign is Gardner Johnson, Jonah Jackson, Josh Reynolds, and fourth one going. So Graham Glasgow too. So I definitely would like to see him re-sign Josh Reynolds because him and Goff got a good. I mean, Josh was awesome in the beginning of the year when we still had Williams was out. So.
No, I mean, when you look at the Lions, the biggest thing that hurt them mostly was their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense just. I mean, and a lot of these other teams, it's tough, right? But this sport anymore is not a defense. I mean, you need defense, obviously, but it's more offensive minded, much like what the NFL or NBA is like. And all they want is more scoring and less of these low scoring games. Because, I mean, if you want to look at that game against the Lions, I mean, look at one of the interceptions we should have had, and Brandon Ayuk just about plows him over, and that was a offensive pass interference, and they never call it.
Do you think they were calling that offense, or do you think they were calling that defense? I think they were going to call defense if that ball dropped.
No, you're talking about a different play. I'm talking about one where we clearly had the interception, and he was just running, and he plows the guy over.
Oh, that was the beginning. Yeah, the beginning of the game. Yeah, there when C.J. Gardner had the interception and basically got tackled. Yeah, I remember that now.
But you gotta, I'm not just saying just because it's the Lions, but it was you know, this has happened throughout the season. If you watch other games, you can see that it's, you know, and I watch a lot of, you know, I got the Red Zone channel, so I'm watching a lot of games, and you see that stuff happen, and it just never gets called, which is horrible for the game. You know, and I would like the ability that these coaches could essentially make more, you know, if they want to throw the red flag, they can challenge any call that these refs can alter the game of football.
Yeah, you know, and they could come up with so, you know, basically so a coach isn't throwing a flag every time. Like if they throw a flag on a call or something, you know, maybe lose a timeout, I don't know. Or if you ain't got no timeouts, maybe you lose yardage. You know. Okay, you're challenging this flag. If it's upheld, then you're gonna lose 5 yards. You're gonna lose an extra 5 yards on it.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't have them like throwing a red flag every call. That would get to be ridiculous.
Well, I'm just saying, there's times where a game gets changed, and we all look at it and go, "What the heck was that?" I mean, look at the Dallas Cowboy game and the Lions.
Yeah. I hear you. I know there's gotta be something.
All of a sudden it's like, we can change the game by doing this, and you can't do anything about it.
Well, I know, what's his name? The commissioner there, he was asked why he was down there at Super Bowl about that, and he goes, you know, especially with football being in league with gambling and stuff, how many of those calls cost people a bet that they would have otherwise won? You know, granted, gambling's gambling. Yeah, there's definitely got to be something done about officiating, because it is horrible across the board.
I mean, you'd hate to lose a sport or the mindset that this is all about, you know, trust me, gambling and all that stuff has helped grow a lot of sports, but it also is going to be a hindrance on, you know, it's all about the numbers on your team winning or not, and it's not even about truly how talented these players are. So
Yeah.
That's just the downside of it. What else we got for news? We're coming up to our half an hour mark.
Not really. I think me and you, we're going to be tailgating the Super Bowl, but stay tuned, because we probably going to do some mock drafts when it gets closer to the draft, and more things start coming available. Right now, you know, everybody's kind of sitting tight, and I think everything's just rumor as of right now, right? I mean, nothing big happening. And we're definitely going to be tailgating the draft. For at least the first round, we'll be tailgating that. And I might sit in and do the second round, and maybe we get together or something, or Todd does the third and fourth round. But anyway, we will be tailgating the draft. And our reactions to who the Lions draft and stuff like that. But if you go by last year, man, everybody was so ticked off with who the Lions drafted, and look at how good that rookie class turned out to be.
Yeah. Yep, they did say that. Yep, we made a mistake, and they gave them an E rating and E grade on their draft, and they were like, yeah, we messed that one up. The other news was Joe Flacco wants to stay now, stay and play. That was the other thing I saw on one of the news.
Oh, for Cleveland?
Well, I don't know if with Cleveland, but he still feels like he's got more in his tank. So
He could be a good backup to pick up, right?
yeah,
I don't know how Hendon Hooker's coming along, you know. But generally, you keep 3 quarterbacks. I mean, Hendon was hurt for most of the season, so, and Teddy Bridgewater, he retired, so, I mean, I think he'd make a good backup.
well, folks, that's about our end of our show here on this one. We will see you guys tomorrow, and you know what? For the Chief fans, you know what? That'd be a back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Otherwise, 49ers take it down to San Fran, and you know, and I guess if you beat the Lions, I would love for the 49ers to win, because then we lost the best team. So, anyways,
Yeah. I think
make it a good
49ers
game.
are gonna win.
Make it a good game.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night.